Ladies and gentlemen, normality restores today. Game day. Pies versus GWS. This is the pre-game show, the first of the year, the first of the 2025 season. Plenty to cover. We're going to start with news regarding a certain player at the Doggies, and it's not Bontempelli for those who saw the show yesterday. And then we're going to get into some player highlights and everything and anything that has to do with this game at 3:20 in Sydney in very nice conditions. I'll tell you that. In classic Melbourne fashion, Sydney's forecast has done a complete flip on its head, and it's currently 27 and sunny in Sydney with no precipitation in sight. So we've got a perfect game for the Talls, for the Membries, for the McStays, for the Myerchecks. I reckon we get into this show. Why don't we? And let's start with Jamarra Ugle-Hagan. So Tony Shaw. We all know who Tony Shaw is, and if you don't, you probably need to do some homework because you're probably not a Collingwood fan, a true Collingwood fan, if you do not know who Tony Shaw is at name value. So, spoke to the media, did Tony Shaw yesterday, and said the Pies have to consider chasing Jamarra Ugle-Hagan in the offseason of 2025. So, he is someone, admittedly, that I did leave him out of the free agency chat yesterday. Now, he's contracted to the end of 2026, and he's a non-free agent. So, I always say, if a club is looking to move on a player, it's best to do it in not their contract year, the year before that, because they have trade power, autonomy to control and leverage in the discussions and negotiations with the clubs that are vesting their or spiking their interest for someone like Ugle-Hagan. And we know what's happening with Ugle-Hagan from the outside looking in, we know as much as we possibly can without going inside and knowing absolutely everything. But there's discussions about fractured relationships with Beveridge, with Rory Lobb. He was selected hours before that elimination final game against Hawthorn. That's how close he was on missing due to behavioural issues. And he's had a rough off-season. But I want to know what is a rough off-season for an AFL athlete and then like a regular Joe Blow like you and us or you and I, right? Is he getting on the gear every week? Is he doing it every other day? Is he just not doing his fitness as well, tied in with that? That's what I want to know. I mean, I don't want to know that, but that's what I'm asking myself, because you'd be surprised in the world we live in these days. I'm telling you, the youths of this world are getting on something every other week. So for a normal person, this is nothing out of the ordinary. But because he is an AFL athlete and he has to uphold standards and he has responsibilities and he's supposed to be a role model, it gets blown out of proportion. Now, is it warranted? Yes, certainly. If you're messing about on big contracts and you know you're chasing fast cars and girls and supplements, and you're up till the early mornings until the birds are chirping, and you're staring at the ceiling, having a staring contest with the ceiling at 6 a.m. The birds are chirping outside. It's a problem, of course. But I guess my point is with all of this is just a common issue these days. So that's why I'm not scared. I wouldn't be scared for Collingwood to call Jamarra Ugle-Hagan. Let me say that again. They wouldn't be scared to call Jamarra Ugle-Hagan's name at the end of this year and bring him to the club or try lure him to the club, because it's just another regular problem that regular people deal with. He's 21, 22. I'm sure with the right guidance, perseverance, patience, yes, this could turn into a debacle and he could slide into this dark, deep hole. I understand that. But there's also just that natural learning curve as a young man growing up. You're gonna dabble. You are gonna dabble. Everyone in AFL dabbles. He's just probably taken it a couple steps too far for AFL standard. So I'm not scared that someone like Ugle-Hagan, if we bring him over, it's just going to completely cook everything. He's not going to affect the culture. If anything, he's going to be infected by our culture and hopefully turn his fortunes around and become a disciplined person outside of footy and make sure that what you're doing outside of footy is conducive to what you're trying to achieve on field. You know, there's a strong emphasis of that at Collingwood. Moreover, there's a strong concerted emphasis, and they make education and community engagement with the indigenous culture a big thing at Collingwood in particular. They're not shy about it. And I think for someone like Jamarra Ugle-Hagan, who's had issues like that in the past, I think it would be a welcome gift for him to come to Collingwood and get to experience and preach what he's been trying to push with his indigenous culture. It's very strong at Collingwood. It is. They do the camps. We've got Bobby Hill. Education is a big thing for everyone at Collingwood when it comes to the indigenous side of things. So that's another selling point. Yeah, I'm going to call it a selling point. It is. So I don't know how bad his issues are, but what I do know is this is just a normal thing these days. And if it takes him 6 months, 12 months to get back to where he needs to be, even if that's next year, even if he misses the first half of the year, I mean, this guy's a generational talent. If we get him at the end of this year, we could have him for another 10, 12 years. I'd say 10, 11, 12 years, somewhere around there. So if he misses a year trying to right his wrongs and get his habits in alignment, get his ducks in a row, I mean, he's got blokes to lean on at Collingwood who have had issues, maybe not to that extent, but Geordie to go he's no saint. He's had his issues. He'd be under great wisdom there. I mean, that most men have had these issues. So I do think mainstream media is blowing this out of proportion. They're spinning this and turning the kennel on Jamarra Ugle-Hagan. I think it's going to be untenable at a certain point. Dog supporters are going to disdain the man because of this cycle that mainstream media are putting out there. They're just going to make him look like he's the devil, but he's just a man who has a vice that is, it's something you can easily fight. Not easily, but it's something you can fight back against. So as a player, he's similar to Ben King. And I think just with what the media is doing, once again, I think maybe clubs will steer away from someone like Jamarra Ugle-Hagan because of the offseason he's had. He's just young. Look at Geelong. Their approach with Tyson Stengel had issues with the white powder, and he's at Geelong now. He's a premiership player. He's an All-Australian. Does he still indulge? Probably. I mean, he was admitted into the hospital at some point last year, but it seems like he's got it under control at the very least, right? Geelong welcomes someone like Bailey Smith, who's had his own issues. Couldn't hack it at the Bulldogs. Maybe that's something to point out at the Doggies. I mean, how do they deal with people who are having issues with substance abuse versus how a Geelong welcomes these players with open arms and gives them a chance to vindicate themselves. So it's an interesting conversation, 100%. Interesting conversation. I mean, Adelaide, they get rid of Stengel, he goes to Geelong, and look at the turnaround. Let's catch up on the comments because we are well behind. All right. Mello, how you going? Andreas, Elida, Manny. Let's go, champ. take anything Tony Shaw says with a grain of salt. He's an outspoken man. I don't mind him. Let's go, Melissa. Chris, how you going? Chris Talbot, that is. Hello there, Mikali Yasuant. Pies by 19. Shooter's legacy performance today. Please don't let Giants chip it around. That was depressing last year, watching teams chip it around with no pressure. Yeah, I do remember that stretch late in the year where teams were just moving the ball. Geelong, Essendon, Gold Coast, Hawthorn. I remember. I think we all remember. No one cares what comes out of Tony Shaw's mouth. Heat-seeking win-back. Damn. Nobody likes him. Jamarra Ugle-Hagan for Ash Johnson and a first rounder. Dreaming, Andreas. Dreaming. I could see us getting away with the first rounder. I could. Like Bailey Smith went to Geelong for a first round. It depends on the circumstances. Problem with Jamarra is the baggage. If he sooks up, you open a can of worms, especially the media playing the racist and for creating headlines. Yeah, look, I think Collingwood are smart enough to navigate around those potential issues that could arise. Yeah, bro. Actually, Andreas, on TV, ads go crazy. Like, doesn't matter what it is. I can't help you with the TV one. You'd have better luck watching this on your phone. You actually get less ads there. But thanks for your support, huh? A big club like Collingwood probably isn't what he needs with the media spotlight. I think Collingwood are good at protecting these players. But then again, there's a Geelong. You go to Geelong, you're by the beach, it's nice and quiet. You know, you have that conversation there. 2010 team, 1/3 of them were on shit and not being that professional. Look, I do know the Rat Pack got into some mischief and dabbled and indulged, but I don't think what they were doing back then, it probably wouldn't get you the results 15 years on in 2025. I think everyone's looking for a point of difference, and I think a strong training and conditioning and consistency and not going out as much is what you need to be a premiership fancy. Yeah, great leadership, Levi. All comes down to the coin. We've got plenty of that, don't we? And the collective bargaining agreement, right? So the collective bargaining agreement is increasing year on year. So everyone, guys, we're going to see in the next few years, there's going to be 2-3 players on $1 million plus at every club. So I don't see the salary cap being much of an issue right now. Do Collingwood need to go backwards and have another Dane Beams? See, this is the risk averse way to look at it. Could he be a Dane Beams? I mean, Dane Beams was pretty deep in the mud, you know, whereas, and he's a little bit older. So whereas Jamarra, he's still impressionable, he's still pliable, can be taught the right way. Whereas Dane Beams, a little bit older, you know, it was just probably a bit too far gone with him. Too many issues. Whereas, yeah, Ugle-Hagan, I think there's more optimism around that. Don't need a 1.5. Come on, guys. Give him a chance. Come on. Jacob, good mate. We're going to get into some talking points in just a moment. I just got to get through these comments. Yeah, see, I like that, Mick. He does call it as it is. I agree. Get YouTube Premium. There you go. Lots of pressure. All right. No, it won't rain today. All right, let's move into the next part of the show. So, just a quick one on Alex Condon, the NBA prospect who is on our rookie B list at the moment. He's having a career season at college basketball level. I don't think he was even in the conversations of potentially being drafted last year. He's now entering the likelihood of being a first-round draft pick at NBA or in the NBA. So, firstly, congratulations! Like that's a massive effort. Considering he played footy as well, it's hard to have your eggs in different baskets. And he's obviously in the last couple of years he's locked down and elected to triple down on his basketball career. It seems to work out. It seems to be working out. So good for him. But it does mean we don't get a former top 5 draft prospect into our club, which I think it's not too bad looking at how our list stands up right now. Okay, we got Darcy Cameron. He's going to be, if he doesn't leave, he's going to be with us for, he'd be good for another 4 or 5 years, right? You got Ilaru Smith, who is a prosperous type of player. He's a prospective player who has displayed great potential, great athletic capacity. But then we got Oscar Steen, who is just fundamentally sound, and he's only 21 himself. And I think in this year in the VFL, I think Oscar Steen's going to get some real good respect attached to his name. So I don't think it's that big of a loss. And I mean, Condon hasn't played footy in 3-4 years. So are we going to get that top 5 draft prospect, or are we going to get a player who looks like he hasn't played in 5-6 years, So that's something else that's worth consideration. It's a bit of a stab in the dark, but hence being on the rookie B list. Someone asked a good question on the channel earlier today. I think they said, what did they say? They asked, if we remove Condon from our category B rookie list, do we have a spot available in the mid-season draft? We do, but we won't be able to draft like a footy player, if that makes sense. So to access, because I think we're at capacity on it. We're at capacity with our rookie A's, or category A. We've got 6 players there. We've got 2 in our category B. So say hypothetically we get rid of a category B, we don't have space. Just because we've taken a player off category B, we can't add to rookie A or category A, because the capacity there is 6, and we're at that already. So that only leaves that category B rookie spot available for the Pies, which means we can only add a player to the list that hasn't played Aussie rules in any sort of domain or league for the last, I think it's 2 or 3 years. So any like player VFL prospects that we like the look of, we wouldn't be able to pick them up in the mid-season draft with a rookie B spot. So that's how that works. Don't need Jamarra. Champs, don't forget, we have the Rocker kids coming through next couple of years. Yeah, I spoke to Kuda late last year at a show that we did a podcast for, because his son plays the Rockers, and he had some good raps for those kids. So who knows? Slipping Jimmy. Lol, all of upset Doggies players wanting out. Bevo's ruined that team with his antics. I can see Bevo getting the flick this year and players staying on after he goes. Depends how salty they are. Yeah, look, I don't know enough, but I listened to the podcast with Dylan Buckley and Luke Beveridge yesterday, and I was actually surprised, taken aback at how smart and emotionally aware Luke Beveridge is. So I have mixed feelings, because if I hadn't watched that and I saw your comment just then, I'd be like, yeah, it seems like a Luke Beveridge problem, but I can only judge what I see and how he presents himself to the public eye. Yeah, he can be a bit of a prick to the media, but in a one-on-one environment, that intimate environment with the podcast person being Dylan, I thought he spoke really well, and it was really insightful. Mark my words, this is once in a lifetime team. If we don't get injuries, we could go undefeated. That is huge. I did say, Peter, that albeit that game against Richmond was a practice match, it felt like Collingwood of 2011, where we just looked unbeatable. Besides, that other team, the navy blue and white hoops. G'day, champs. JUH would be a good get as long as you don't sell the farm. He's starting to remind me of Josh Shackey. Is he all in? Shackey. I think Shackey really never lived up to his ability, whereas JUH has. So that's a big difference. Is he all in? Obviously not right now, but I think he can. He's still young, man. He's still young. He's dabbling in a bit of fun outside of footy and doing a little bit too much. I think that's something that you can work out of his system. Being at the right place at the right time, the right club, that black and white club. You know what I mean? So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Okay. So what time is it now? It's 1:50. So in half an hour, we will have the sub announcement as well. So I think we'll make it there. But let's get into the actual game and talk about some player highlights. So the first person on my list that I want to speak about is Reef Mckinnis. Surprise, surprise. Going into this year, he was on his last legs when it comes to his contract. Got a 1-year extension. We weren't sure if he was going to get delisted. We really weren't sure. It was Russian roulette at that point. He's been spared another life. He won't be a forward in this team, at least not for the next few years if he is to stick around. And I like the opportunity he does have right now when it comes to who we have in our fixture in the next few weeks. I think he has an opportunity today where he doesn't have to play on Jesse Hogan because he's not there. What did Charlie Dean have to do in I think it was his first game of his career, AFL career? He had to play on the likes of Jesse Hogan, sometimes Jake Riccardi, Logan. Did Cadman play that game? I'm not too sure. He was thrown to the wolves, Charlie Dean. Poor bloke. And then Charlie Dean had to play on Logan McDonald, Joel Amati against Sydney the following week. And then he got dropped. And then guess what his comeback game was against? Against Fremantle, where we sort of played really well. There wasn't a great deal of pressure that was heaped on our defense. But then the next week, he had to play on Sam Darcy, who at the time was just this player ready to break out. And so he did that, Sam Darcy, and he tore Charlie Dean to shreds. So I like that. We have, what do we have? So we've got GWS that don't have Jesse Hogan. We have Port Adelaide next week, who have Mitch Georgiades and Ollie Lord. That's pretty much it, right? And then we have, I think, Sydney, who still, Logan McDonald, I don't know if he's available. Joel Amati, it's not the best forward line. So a really good opportunity for Reef just to ease his way into the side and play against lesser opposition. Look, granted, if the ball's moved easily against us, we're all going to struggle in that back line. But if we play to our strengths and keep the game in our forward half, that's when Reef will have some respite, get that a bit of alleviation away from the repeat entries that Collingwood had to endure last year at fast pace as well. So I think Reef plays on Aaron Cadman today. I really would give that assignment. Okay, mate, you take him and then get Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe to roll off their players and see how that goes. Give him the assignment. Cadman's fast, so is Reef. Reef is also fast. So, look, I think Cadman's probably a little bit longer than Reef Mckinnis, but I would definitely consider that assignment, at least for a quarter. See how it goes. What are we saying? Chat? Kana Pies got to go. See Jimmy. They're both out. I'm confused. The lineup right now, is it going to be changed? There won't be any changes. There will just be a sub announcement at 2:20. I think we will go very well today, especially after a good win over Richmond in the practice match. We will miss Houston, but GWS have stars missing too. Yeah, the narrative has been, GWS have a bunch of players out. We need to pump them, which I want. I agree with the latter of that statement. I want to see us pump a GWS side, but we have to remember we still don't have Jordan De Goey. We still don't have Dan Houston. In my eyes, I think it's almost a level playing field. I think those are two all-Australian caliber players. Jordan De Goey is your classic break glass in case of emergency, and that's been seen time and time again in final series. You've got Dan Houston, two-time all-Australian, missing off the table. They're missing Tom Green and Jesse Hogan. Yeah, they're missing small role players that are really handy as well, like a Harvey Thomas, like a Jake Riccardi. I understand that, but I think it's relatively. We're missing Tom Mitchell. Tom Mitchell at his best is in our best 23 still. Yeah, good conditions. 27 and sunny in Sydney. Classic Melbourne turnaround there in Sydney with the wet weather announcement, and then a couple of days later. Kev says, no need to be so negative with Reef. He hasn't even played a game down back yet. Had a wonderful preseason. Let's be positive. Matt. Was I negative? Geez, if that's negative, I wonder what gets you upset, Kev. Goodness gracious. They have too many keys out, and Toby Green is playing on Nick Dacos. Toby Bedford, you mean? I assume you mean that. So their general forward line is thin. Yeah, their general forwards are thin. But they still got Brent Daniels, who's a superstar, who is someone I think Bobby Hill is aspiring to be on a more consistent basis. I said the other day, Brent Daniels is fundamentally sound and he just gets the job done. Bobby Hill will razzle dazzle and he's exciting and he's bums on seats, but I definitely think Bobby Hill wants to take the scalp of Brent Daniels. He's gonna consider that matchup, albeit on opposite ends. I think Bobby Hill's gonna be like, I want to be everything that Brent Daniels is in his own way. So, and that's not me saying Bobby Hill is half the man that Brent Daniels is. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'd probably have Brent Daniels here and Bobby Hill, 2, 3, 4, somewhere here when it comes to the best small forwards in the league. I got Brent Daniels probably number 1. So I'm just saying if he can be more consistent and maybe a bit more accurate in front of goals, which we'll talk about, who knows? Don't forget Mitchell. Yep, exactly. Jamarra's like Oliver. Too many issues. I don't want him at Collingwood next year. Once again, I think Oliver's a little bit older. Look at him now. Melbourne have persevered, and Clary was in the mud. Bad. Really bad. I'm surprised he's bounced back. So credit to him. And I think he's going to repay Melbourne this year. So what's 6 to 12 months? You persevere with these players and they pay you back tenfold more often than not. If we win well, Anthony, we'll be ready, excited, or wait until the next few weeks. Will you be I'll be excited for the win. I'll be ecstatic for the win because I've been fucking waiting 6 months for this shit. But I'm not going to say, oh, lids off, blah, blah, blah. Footy's back. Go Hawks. Tip today is Pies by 14. Appreciate it, Yarra Ward. Mate, fuck. The Hawks looked unreal against Sydney. They look scary. I don't want to have to worry about them until we play them. Put pressure on GWS. It changes momentum of the game. Just look at Friday night. We shouldn't be too complacent with the Giants out. They are still very potent and dangerous. This match ain't a given. 100%, mate. Agreed. All right. Next point of the agenda for the player highlights is Ed Allen. Little fun fact for you guys. I don't know if you know this, but Collingwood have never lost with Ed Allen in our side. Don't tell anyone he's only played 2 games. All right? Don't shoot the messenger, okay? I think Ed Allen has to play inside mid. I think he starts, right? Let me know in the comment section. Are you going Ed Allen start, Ned Long sub? Or do we flip that around? I think it has to be an Ed Allen start. I think now's a great time to integrate him into the team and find a bit about Ed Allen as a genuine inside midfielder. Looking at his stats, playing in a midfield, ranked elite for pressure, contested pressure, and scoreboard impact. This is a very small sample size, guys. I mean, it's the Melbourne game we're talking about. He had 9 score involvements from 21 touches, which is what? Nearly 50% of his disposals led to or were a part of a scoring chain, a score involvement. Just for reference, 35%, if 35% of your possessions are a part of a scoring chain or score involvement, you are the creme de la creme in the league. You are Christian Petrarca. You are Andrew Brayshaw. You are Zach Merritt. You are Isaac Heaney. You are Marcus Bontempelli. A little bit beneath that is a Nick Dacos at 30%. So this is a sample size of really 2 games. I understand that. But if Ed Allen, if what he touches turns into gold more often than not, it's going to be hard to keep him out of the side. I don't think he's a winger. I don't know if he ever will be just because of his poor kicking abilities, vision, awareness. I don't know what it is. I need to see more. I do need to see more. I think we're going to get that starting today. So looking forward to that. What's the reaction if it's a draw today, mate? Yeah, wouldn't be ideal. If you know what it'd feel like? You know what a draw would feel like? It'd feel like this week wasn't even real. It'd feel like round 1 or opening round is against Port Adelaide. That's what a draw feels like for me. Do you think Jamarra has the temperament to thrive at Collingwood? If he has trouble at the Dogs, and I have concerns about him handling the scrutiny of Collingwood. Once again, I think Collingwood have all the frameworks and safeguards in place to protect their players. I think Bulldogs have struggled protecting their players when this shit comes out with Bailey Smith, Ugle-Hagan. I think we really cradled Jordan De Goey really well, particularly like the last few years when he's had a couple incidents mid-season and whatnot. I think Jamarra will be around a great group. He'll have great leaders. He'll have people around him who have been through that garbage. So I'd be willing to take a chance is the bottom line. Don't forget, we've won 9 of our last 16 games against GWS, and we won 3 of the last 5 games against GWS as well. Well, to me, Kev, that sounds like a bit of a coin flip, doesn't it? Close to 50%. Ed Allen starting the bench and straight in the middle. Yep, good idea. He's too big for a winger. Who are the biggest wingers in our league? You probably got Blake Acres. He's what, probably 6'1", 6'2". You got Harrison Jones at Essendon, but Harrison Jones is like a really good intercept marking threat and can roll forward as well. I don't think Ed Allen has that aerial capacity, the potential to really take big marks. Harrison Jones does. So yeah, he'd be an anomaly as well. Pia, I'm tipping a Pies win, but you have to turn up every game. Little of, and you're going to lose. It's a super competitive season. I've changed my mind regarding the team. Would love to beat 2 times the Hawks. You'd love to beat the Hawks. Me too. Kev, I think Allen will be sub. Him and Long, their disposal is a bit worrying. Yeah, I think Ned Long's a little bit more concerning with his disposal, but you think Allen will be sub though. Ed Allen start, Ned Long sub. We're going to win, champ. Lockie, how are you, mate? There he is. Keen. Collingwood. Dog. All right. Next one. One more thing from John. I'm thinking more about Jamarra's on-field scrutiny. We can be merciless as supporters and players if they don't deliver. Look at how we treated Main and Schultz. I think it's different. I think Main and Schultz is different because they didn't have off-field issues. This is an off-field issue that we're regarding with. So you're saying his performance is on-field? Look, I'll be honest with you, John. I think JUH would be special on-field. He might have form slumps, but I think he'll be a generational talent for the Pies. And if not, he'll be that at the Doggies. All right, next one. Next player on the agenda, player highlight, Beau Bugsy McCreary. I want to see Beau achieve a goal a game in 2025. He hasn't averaged over 0.8 goals in his 4 seasons at Collingwood. Last year was half a goal a game. Now I know his pressure's elite. I can live with Beau not becoming a midfield bull. I can live with Beau not having a game-breaking kick that opens up sides. But something's got to give. I'd like to see Beau add one of those strings to his bow. I don't think he can become a midfield bull. I don't think he needs to become a midfield bull, is what I'm trying to say, actually. I don't think he has this game-breaking kick and that polished kick going inside 50. I'm okay with that. But can we tie in his elite pressure with scoreboard impact? Yeah. If Beau can achieve that this year, our forward line, independent of our tall forwards, it's a ominous small forward, general forward department to come across for any team. If Beau can provide that extra scoreboard pressure on sides. Now you got to remember Beau and Lockie, they'll play higher, generally speaking. They'll play higher up the field. Bobby and Billy will usually get first dibs on, or they'll get more shots on goal because they play deeper, generally speaking. So, and the other thing is with Beau, he turns 24 this year. So he's still young. But that's why I also think it's important that he's in that age bracket that we talk about, that young age bracket that's sort of transitioning into, I would say he's probably still 3-4 years away from achieving his prime. But he's the type of player that's going to carry Collingwood into the future. That's why I'm critical of Beau when it comes to just adding one more thing to his game. We know his pressure's unbelievable. It's elite. He is a pain in the ass for sides. He hurts you, literally and metaphorically, okay? So that's my 2 cents on Beau Bugsy McCreary. I think this game will be very close, but really hope our pressure and tackling is elite. Enter Beau. Forget Beau's inside mid. He's an outside runner, just needs more consistency. Yep. Apparently, my mum deems Beau a Mullane type and says he'd do well on the wing. Don't know how he'll break into a wing position, though, right now. I don't know if has the aerobic capacity to be a winger. Once again, he also doesn't have that kick that we probably need. You reckon 15 to 18 disposals? I can live with 10 touches and a goal a game with Beau. Also, that we play similar to how we did against Richmond in Pracky match. Watch the Swan versus Hawks match, and both sides were very good. Yes, the standard is very high in 2025. That's for certain. Next player, Bobby Hill. We need a more accurate Bobby this year. In 2023, his goal scoring accuracy was sitting at above 60%, which is top of the top. Like, it's elite, superior for any player in a forward line. To average that percentage over the course of the year, really good. Last year was 40%. 40%. That's a 20% decrease. Over the course of his career, he's actually been notoriously inaccurate. 45% is his career average. So, was 2023 an anomaly for Bobby, or are we going to see a more accurate Bobby this year? I expect Bobby to actually have more shots this year as well. I think we need him to be a bit more selfish, and don't be so worried about warming players into the game by trying to get them shots on goals when we want Bobby to take that shot on goal because we trust him. So that's what I want from Bobby. And like I said earlier, Bobby's going to be staring across the other side of the field, looking at a man who's probably 10% a better player than him right now, and that's Brent Daniels. Different players, same position, different players, different traits, different characteristics, but in absolute terms, I would say Brent Daniels is a little bit of is just a bit better than Bobby Hill right now. So I think Bobby's going to take that personally, and he's going to look to give it everything and get his season started the right way. What are our thoughts on that? Bobby Hill needs to take the chance to kick goals instead of passing the ball. Spot on, Kev. You're the man. You're the man, Kev. Bobby or Lockie to kick the first goal. Get first kick in the center, gets his pack and the Buzz Shaw's jump. I love that. Deep Fried Law. Just tuned into the stream. What's been going on so far? Let me check my agenda. We spoke about Jamarra Ugle-Hagan, Alex Condon, Reef Mckinnis, Ed Allen, Beau McCreary, Bobby Hill. We've got a couple more to go. Yeah, that's what's going on so far. How does your fade last so long? Chris, I'll let you in on a secret, mate. You know how my fade lasts so long? I do it every week. My justification, my excuse to getting a fade every Friday is I need to be sharp for the live streams. That's my justification. That's my coping mechanism. Best case scenario is a Bobby having his best year and then using to bring Harley Reid home. Ooh. Bobby will shine this season with the new look forward line. We have it. It will help him a lot more than last season. He will have immediate impact. He will be all of us an All-Australian. Bang. Bobby and Beau need to be stronger and accurate in front of goal. Hawks are good, but the Pies at full strength can monster them. Hey, like I said, I don't want to worry about Hawthorn until we need to play them. Yep, agreed. Absolute terms and relevant to right now. Here's the thing, Kev, with tall players. I think just because Ed Allen's tall doesn't mean he could be a good defender. By that logic, you'd probably say, well, Paddy Cripps is 6'5". Why can't he be the best key defender in the league? It just sometimes you just don't have the traits, or you don't have the defensive intellect to be a defensively minded player. You're never going to get Jordan De Goey to be this All-Australian defender in the midfield, the All-Australian defensive midfielder. He's never going to carry that feather in his cap. Harry Perriman inherently just has this aptitude for defensive awareness, defensive accountability. It's the same thing goes. It's a great question, John. I propose that question to the rest of the chat, though. All right. Running hot in the last 5 games of last season. We're going to talk about a certain player. He just welcomed his second child to the world, and that is Jeremy Howe. Jez is going to be important today. He's going to help alleviate pressure off Reef Mckinnis. He's going to give him a helping hand when needed. Jeremy Howe in the last 5 games last year averaged 3 intercept marks per game, which was top 10 at that time. Top 10 amongst all your key defenders and general defenders. He averaged 17 disposals per game, which was 6th amongst all players in the defensive category at an 83% kicking efficiency clip. So I think Jeremy Howe's use by foot sometimes can be suspect, but he does have the license to take these penetrating kicks that cut open sides, right? So I think we're still going to need that today. Without Dan Houston, yes, Jeremy Howe does not run off the half back line, but he does break lines with his kick. Sometimes he does have, he's not immune to blunders here and there, but I think his kicking excellency is going to be needed today to assist Josh Dacos for sure. I want Reef to take a leaf out of Howie's game, and I want you all, if you haven't noticed already, to keep an eye on how elite Jeremy Howe's spoiling craft is. We know Jeremy Howe is this high flyer, this great marking player, but I would argue he's just as good as spoiling the ball as he is as taking the mark. And he doesn't spoil the ball because he can't take the mark. He spoils that ball because he knows. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Howie makes the right decision as to when to try to take the mark and spoil. So he doesn't try and over spoil. He doesn't try over mark. When he spoils the ball, he clears the boundary line. It's in row Z. He gets distance on it. And I can appreciate that. Being a goalkeeper growing up, there was always a big emphasis on clearing the danger zone when you're clearing the ball, say from a corner. You always want to clear the danger zone. You don't want to put it back into danger. You want to get some distance with it. Get some good purchase. It's a craft. You can't just become a key defender and think that spoiling is just punching the ball. Like there's timing, there's everything. Timing, balance, how hard are you hitting the ball? There's a lot of things that go into this. I think I'd like to think Jeremy Howe can pass on a trick or two to Reef Mckinnis in some spoiling craft. Lucky you can have a fade. I'm still Bottom 2.0. We love you, mate. Don't worry. All good, Ken. Right? No dramas. How this season will be used as a swingman. Once our defense is at full strength, he will chop out down forward. When used as a swingman, he can kill sides. Hence North last season. He's also very good general in defense. Yes, he's very loud. He directs everyone, ensures they're in the right positions. Spot on. When Murphy started, he was a winger and did shit, then became a super defender. Hey, I'm not saying like Ed Allen can't become a defender. He could, but we can't, I guess, attach that thought experiment to every player. Like I said, like if Patrick Cripps is 6'4", 6'5", just based off that metric, you'd say, oh, well, he can be a good key defender. I'm just saying that it's not necessarily the case with every player. One thing I noticed in 24 versus 23 was our kicking skills. Although Houston isn't playing, I hope our disposal efficiency really improves this year. Yeah, we were shocking. We were, especially early in the season. Very important, Kev. Very important. I think Howe is crucial. And obviously Darcy Moore is as well. Guys, yes. 250 games for Mr. Consistent, Jack Crisp. Can't wait. Cannot wait. How good. What a man. What a man. So we got 5 minutes to, I think, the sub gets announced. What are your predictions for the game? Give me margin and give me a player prediction. Give me something left field, Spike my interest. Give me something that deserves some airtime. I don't want to hear Nick Dacos 30 touches. I don't want to hear McStay kick 6. Give me something different. Come on. Oh, I'm challenging all of you just to think a little bit deeper for a second. I can tell you guys are thinking because you haven't put anything in the comments yet. You guys probably all had Josh Dacos to get 20 touches off the back line. He's going to kick a goal. I reckon you all had that ready to go, and then you've heard what I've just said, and you've just scrapped it, and now you're all rattled. All right, let's see. Pies by 16 points. Lipper for 3 goals. I like that. Off a wing. Margin, Pies by 15, and most tackles, Pez. That's probably a lock, isn't it? Jacob Ryan is the one that could be a better player, given the chance. Sort of like Murph. Nah, he's too short, Ryan, to play the same role as Murph. Ryan's like 6'1". Murph is 6'4". 27-point win. Nakos gets shut down. Pendles with 25 and Membry for 3. 25 is a big number with GWS. Crisp 25 in his 250th will be big. Numerology. Membry kicks 4 and Pies by 38. Lipper 25 and 2. I'm liking this Lipper and goals. Lipper and goals, I like it. You legitimately think a draw. Go away. Out of here. Membry most goals and win by 20. Dacos 29 touches, mixtape 5 goals. I just said don't say that. Pendlebury gets 10 tackles. I like it. I like it. Pies by 19. After today, we will all look at Shooter differently. Ooh. Andreas, get out. Pies win. Lipper best on. A lot of Lipper energy in here. Crisp is very underrated and flies under the radar, but is an amazing player and absolute cog in the side. I think we'll win by 16 points. Q and Reef combined. 18 intercept marks is too much. What about this? Q and Reef combine for 8 intercept marks. How about that? How about that? McCreary 20 and 2. I don't know about the 20 touches, but I can get around to 2 goals. Certainly. I think we need to talk about Lipper Anthony. Tell me, John. What have you got for me, brother? Pies win by 18. Jacos best on ground. He's going to be important, that's for sure. He's going to be crucial off that halfback line. Let's pop up in this AFL website. Have the subs been announced? They'd be close. They'll be close. McCreary to put on a DeGoey showcase. Are you insinuating he's going to play in the midfield? Because I can guarantee you probably won't. But if you're insinuating that he's going to have like a DeGoey forward line type of impact, 20 and 2, like the 26 and 2 that like DeGoey had against Adelaide last year. I'm packing my bags. McCreary. Yeah, all right, cool. 2 minutes till we get the sub announcement. I'm pretty sure we're going to get Ned Long as a sub. Hey, one thing I remember from last year is Fly does like to throw us off with a left field sub pick. There's times where I'm like, yep, this guy's going to be a sub, and then it's not the case. So I would like to think it's going to be Ned Long, the sub, but I wouldn't be surprised if, say, an Ed Allen is the sub. Maybe, man. Remember to kick 2 at least. Pies by 70 points. DC 35 hitouts, 3 goals, 25. That's an all-time performance. Wow. Okay, I like it. Pies by 17. Perryman to shove his wage up everyone's ass and dominate. Love it, Murphs. Good to have you back, mate. Can Lipper become a 30-plus mid elite by foot and hands? According to Fly, can run all day. Big year for him to move into midfield. I think we've got the outside. We've got outside players in the midfield. Better yet, we have players who are playing in the midfield that have outside ability, but also have inside ability. Nick Dacos is inside out. Jordan De Goey is inside out. Scott Pendlebury is inside out. I think Lipper being exclusively an outside type of player, I don't think we can have him in the midfield. I think it will ruin our balance, our synergy in there. Closest until 3/4 time, then we fold them. 9-goal first quarter of the Pies and only 1 goal for GWS. If not, so Mick, it's come to light that Markov wasn't omitted. He had a calf injury, the poor bugger. So he was definitely going to play. He would have played. Unfortunately, he's not going to. You reckon the Dogs are fuming about the Lipper trade? Pendles will break the games record next year. All right. Has the sub been announced? Not yet. Not yet. We're nearly there. Yeah, he's got a calf, unfortunately, Mick. Oh boy, we're an hour out. What's everyone doing for the game, by the way? Long weekend in Melbourne. So what's everyone doing? Are you going to the pub? Are you at home with the family? Are you watching it with the lads, with the girls? What's the go? I'll be watching it at my family house with my brother. And then we'll be back for the post-game show as well. So yeah, let me know, what are you guys doing? What's your pre-game meal? I had a beef Scotch fillet steak on its own. Stressing. We're all stressing. Don't want to be a party people who underwhelm again. Hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong too, Mick. A whole elk. Jeez. At home with my family and might go to the beach after. Nice. That'd be a good one. Footy Frankfurts. Yeah, there's people like that. You know, sometimes you just need to be in your own space when you're watching your beloved Collingwood. Sometimes I like being with people, sometimes I don't. Chilling with my mum, sister, chill evening. Love that. In the man cave with the aircon on. What does the man cave look like in Ken Fisho's house, mate? What have you got in there? Have you got a bar? What have you got? What is a man cave in 2025, my friend? My office is kind of my man cave. I've got my PlayStation just here. Got my camera set up here. And this is my man cave these days. At home, cheering the boys on. Have we got the sub announcement yet? Sub announcement. People were saying it's so where are you seeing Ned Long's sub? Because I'm on the AFL website. I don't see that yet. So I'd like to know. Like, where am I needing to see this? Icy poles, cold drinks, and lasagna later. Hopefully it's a winner's lasagna. Where are you getting this Ned Long's sub? Where are you getting it from? Bar, fridge, couch, 3 cars, and a boat, of course. All right, well, there you go. Ned Long has been announced as a sub. Exactly 100 of you in the pre-game show, which is definitely a record by far on a pre-game show. So I appreciate you all being here. It's a fucking amazing effort. And the pre-game show is here to stay. Twitter Collingwood announced it. There you go. Ned Long sub. Ken, you got to have me over. I like the sound of your man cave, mate. It's really good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Pies Footy in T-minus less than 60 minutes. We'll be back for the post-game show. Go Pies.